Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Erica, and in today's video I'm going to be ranking for you guys all of the eyeshadow palettes I use throughout the month of April, and there are 16 slots in this go around. Now, I did not rank them this way because I dislike any of these palettes. I love them all. I had so much fun putting my looks together with all of these palettes, but I just thought about like the color stories, how I felt about the looks that I created, that type of thing. But I really, truly love all of these palettes. Now, most of the palettes I did create videos with, but there were a few times I just sat down and put my makeup on and popped pictures up on Instagram. But nonetheless, I'll be showing you guys pictures of all the looks that I created throughout the month of April. So let's get started with this. I'm going to start off with the lowest ranked palette, number 16, and go all the way up the ladder until I reach number 1, my top ranked palette for the month of April. So in the 16th spot is the Child palette from Colourpop. And this was gifted to me from a very dear friend and subscriber named Tara. And I just think this color story is magical. I love the grunginess, the earthiness. I love tones like this. They're some of my favorite types of tones that there are in eyeshadows, especially like these olivey greens right here. Well, all of this right here. Just stunning. Now, I did do a collab with Emily and Marina, Makeup by Blowfish and Make by Marina. I'll link their channels in my description box. And we all had this palette, so we thought it would be really fun to create looks in our videos with this palette, of course. And I really did like my look, and I loved their looks too. The only reason why this is ranked in the lowest spot is just because in terms of some of the other color stories I used throughout the month of April, this one maybe just, wasn't as exciting to me as some of the other color stories I use. But this is a gorgeous palette. It works really well. It's very nicely formulated. And I think it's just, I do think it's a beautiful color story. Number 15 is the e.l.f. Earth and Ocean palette. Now this is my Oregon palette, and I did do a collab with Itzel, and we focused on like hometown scenery, and I chose a picture of the Sahaley Falls, which actually my husband reminded me, we just went to the Sahaley Falls last year. I said I hadn't been there since my kids were little. That's not true. I just forgot. I don't know. How do you forget that you went to a waterfall? But when I first saw Jen Phelps use this palette on her channel, I don't know, this just reminds me so much of the state of Oregon. We have the coast over here and like the mountain ranges over here. And I really enjoyed the look that I put together. I focused primarily on this side of the palette because I chose a picture of Sahaley Falls. There was a lot of greens and browns in that photo. And, I've heard kind of mixed reviews on this palette, but I love it. I love it. I've never had a negative experience with this palette. This is an older palette in my collection, and the shades that I used for that look performed beautifully. So this wasn't necessarily easy for me to rank, but I'm keeping it where it's at. Number 14, and this might surprise you, is the BH Cosmetics Sweet Shop Pistachio palette, because this is it used to be my favorite green palette. It's no longer my favorite green palette because I have the Wealthy Chic from Colored Rain, which blew my mind, and I've only used it once. I did use this in a collab with Jasmine, the Buffet Witch, and I love this. I truly do. But I don't know. Some of the other stuff I used throughout the month just impressed me maybe a little bit more. Obviously this is a monochromatic palette, but it is absolutely a stunning monochromatic palette. And I will say this, I've said this so many times, that I believe that this is BH Cosmetics' best formulated palettes. All the sweet shops, they're so incredible. And Jasmine created such a beautiful look with her palette too. This was really fun. It was such a wonderful collab to do with Jasmine because she just means the world to me. And it was her first collab she'd ever done with me. So, just really special. So although I love this palette, it just didn't, it just didn't rank as high this time around. Number 13 is the Glam Light Kiss palette. Ooh, yeah, rock on. Now, did I film with this in April? I don't think I did. I think I just sat down and put a look together. For whatever reason, I just didn't feel like filming that morning. And the first time I used this palette, well, how many times have I used it now? 3 times, 2, 3, I don't remember. I was just kind of like, yeah, it's good, but it's not as good as the Scooby-Doo palettes. But then when I used it again, I was a lot more impressed with it the second time around. I kind of felt like I was maybe a little too harsh, a little too critical, a little too hard on this palette, because the mattes are very nicely pigmented and blendable, and the shimmers are stunning. And it's a really nice formula for the shimmers. The Freddy Krueger palettes, I'm going to be doing a collab with the red Freddy Krueger palette in next week. Can't wait, with someone I've never collabed with before. It's going to be so fun just to give it another chance, because I'm glad I gave this one another chance. You know, I really am, because it's a gorgeous color story and I was a lot more impressed with it the second time around. In the 12th spot, I have a couple different eyeshadow products I'm going to be showing you. I created this look for Peanut Butter Beauties, Charlie, her Instagram challenges that she does every month. They're called the Singles Cruise Challenges. And what you're supposed to do is find a beautiful single shimmer shade or whatever kind of single shade you have in your collection and create a look with it based on some pictures of London that she chose for the month of April. So for the mattes, I grabbed them out of the Sydney Grace Mel's Memory Bundle. And I used this shade right here called Beyond. And then I think I used these two shades right here. This one is called Peyton's Puppy, which I love that shade. And then this one is called Fairy Tale. Yeah. And this is such a special bundle in my collection. My dear friend and soul sister, Michelle, which I know I've mentioned this a few times, gifted this to me. I have the mattes in this palette and the shimmers that came in this bundle in a different palette just like this. And I also used this matte, and that matte for a 2 looks video with my Lethal shimmers, my BYOP from Lethal. And I just love these. Every time I use these mattes, I fall even more and more in love with the formulation of these mattes. They're so gorgeous. And then for the singles, I grabbed a couple of singles from Diona, and I'll show you the ones I chose. I used this one here called Sprinkle Whips towards the front part of my lid. It's like this really pretty, well, it's the glare is so horrible, pink and lavender shifting single. And then I paired it with this one right here. Nope, not that one. Nope, not that one. Geez, this one right here. Yeah, this one is called Calypso Shallows, and it's this beautiful purple and blue shifting single, and it's got some pink in it too. And the picture that I chose of London had like browns and peach and pinks and purples and blues, kind of like, I don't know, muted colors. And so I just thought all of these shades would work really well together for my look to mimic the colors in that image, and it was so fun. And I will be taking part in all of Charlie's challenges because they're amazing. And the 11th spot, that belongs to the Nomad Cosmetics She's in Parties palette. I love the outer packaging. I think that is such a pretty palette. It's very romantic, very like Victorian looking. And I didn't film a video with this. I just put a quick look together for my son's 22nd birthday dinner. Just wanted something simple and elegant and pretty. And I felt like this palette definitely gave me that. It was a very simple look. That's kind of why this is ranked where it's at, just because it was simple. And I don't know, maybe not the most exciting look I've ever put together, but I felt really nice. And I got compliments on my look actually at the restaurant. That was wonderful. Now the shades that I put together for that look, I used this shade here, and that in my inner corner. I'd read you the shade names, but I can't read them because they're too small and my eyesight's horrible. But I love having this in my collection. A very romantic, very elegant color story. This wasn't the easiest palette for me to rank either, but you know, it's staying there too. I'm keeping it there. Number 10 belongs to the Natasha Denona Retro palette. And I did do a Throwback Thursday collab with Jan Van, my dear friend. Obviously we both have this palette, and Jan thought it would be really fun for each of us to choose the shades that we each used in our look. So I chose her shades, she chose my shades, and then also the shade placement. And Jan had me do a halo eye, which I really struggle with that technique. I don't love how it looks on me, but honestly, I really liked how the look turned out. I still need to keep practicing a halo eye and get over my weirdness about it and get more on board with doing a halo eye. I don't know, I just think it makes me look really strange. I don't know why. But I had so much fun putting the look together, and this palette is truly exceptional. It's beautiful. It's got such a beautiful formulation, mattes and shimmers. I know there's cream to powder formulas in here, and I don't know which shades those are. If you do, maybe you can teach me about that in the comment section. But I really had fun. I really did. I wasn't sure. When she told me where to put the shades, I'm like, Jan, you're killing me here, Smalls. But it turned out really well. And the only reason why this is ranked 10th is just, you know, it's more of a monochromatic color story. And I'm just going to leave it where it's at. Stop stressing out about it. The 9th spot belongs to the Saints, Angels, Sinners Friendsgiving palette. And this was gifted to me from Andy. Andy does stuff. And I use this for my collab with Jan and Shawnee, answering questions of who out of the 3 of us was more likely to do or not do certain things. And that was maybe the funnest collab. Well, it is the funnest collab I have ever done on my channel. It was so fun. I had such a great time watching their videos, listening to their answers, how similar our answers were. I mean, the 3 of us were meant to be the dearest of friends, I'm telling you. And I just love the look that I put together. It was more monochromatic, you know, it was. You know, there's a lot of different options in here, and I stuck with like the mauvies, pinky shades. But I love the look, and I love the formulation of this palette. This shimmer right here is absolutely jaw-droppingly gorgeous. So I cannot wait to use this again. In the 8th spot, I have another Saints, Angels, Sinners palette. This was done in collaboration with Funny Butter, and this is the Her Royal Highness palette. And Darcy, the brand owner, sent this palette to me in PR. I did not film a video. I just sat down and put a look together with it, I think before work one morning, just didn't feel like filming, and loved the look that I put together. This is another beautifully formulated palette from Saints, Angels, Sinners. I did use this shimmer right here called Princess. It's pink and gold, flippy. It's so beautiful. The mattes that I used, I think I used this matte, and that matte, were stunning. Very elegant, very classy look that I put together with this palette. And even though it's only 9 shades, you know, there's a lot of different colors in here. You can do a lot of different things with it. Love this brand. In the 7th spot, I chose the Urban Decay Naked Honey palette. I really like the look that I put together with this palette. I pulled this into a Throwback Thursday, and I just loved it, you know, and I forget how much I love this palette because I don't use it enough. But pulling it out and using it for a Throwback Thursday was just perfection. The gold shimmers in here, this one especially, is so beautiful. It's my favorite gold shimmer. Well, there's one in a Colourpop palette I love too. That's tough, but it's just stunning. And I really like the, you know, obviously the honey tones in here, browns and golds and mustards. Monochromatic, yes, I know, but you can create such a beautiful gradient with it, and it's such a lovely formulated palette. Number 6 is the Mandy Cosmetics 669 palette, and I did use this palette for my video about Janet Jackson. I wanted to put together a kind of a vampy, smoky, sexier look because I think that Janet Jackson is one of the most sexy people on this planet, and I did feel like I got that out of this palette. I mean, this is a very vampy, dark, sexy, moody color story. The only thing that kind of disappointed me about the look is that I use this shade right here called Euphenia. And in the palette, you can see how shifty it is. It's got like that burgundy to like kind of rusty gold color. And on my eyelids, you really couldn't see it, which was kind of a bummer. But I just couldn't rank this palette any lower than this because I just love it so much. This is one of the most unique color stories I have in my collection, and such a lovely formula. Really pleased with this palette. You know, there are other shimmers in here. This one here called Medusa, and this one here called Freya, that are extremely flippy on the lids. I don't know, that one just wasn't very flippy. But I'm gonna be pulling this into a 2 or 3 looks video soon. Can't wait. Number 5 belongs to the Nomad Cosmetics Fire and Ice Iceland palette. Now, I've mentioned this a lot. I'm gonna say it again, give you a little backstory here. I was not gonna pick up this palette because the color story terrified me. And then Steph, my best friend and sister, she sent this to me for my birthday a couple of years ago. And I thought, okay, because it's her favorite palette. So I thought, okay, Steph's a makeup genius, so I gotta get over my weirdness and just give this palette a try. And I'm so glad she sent it, and I'm so glad I've used it because it's such a beautiful palette. The color story is not as disjointed to me as it used to be. I still sometimes look at it and think it looks a little funky, but it just works together. It's just magical. You know, these shades, I would, like if I saw these shades just laying around in my room here, I would never put them in a palette together ever. But these shades and this color story just are magic. They're beautiful, really fun to create looks with this palette. I did do a 2 looks video with this one. You know, was doing 2 looks with all my Nomad palettes, and I had so much fun. I loved how both of the looks turned out. And you can do so many different fun, unique things with this palette. And that's one of the main reasons why I love it so much. In the 4th spot, I put the Mandy Makeup Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening palette. I've done 2 videos with this, And I just love this palette. I did not expect to love this palette as much as I do. I think it's a gorgeous color story, of course, but I was just blown away by the quality of the mattes. They are stunning. They blend effortlessly. They're super pigmented and such a gorgeous color story, I think. And then the shimmers in here are just dynamic and flippy and gorgeous and thick and buttery and opaque, and just had so much fun creating both looks. And I, of course, want to continue to use this. I want to do a video soon where I'm showing you how to apply a pressed glitter, and I'm thinking about pulling this one in because this pressed glitter is so beautiful. It's very disco ball-y. Number 3 is the Beauty Moon Cosmetics Divergence palette, and this is a UK indie brand that I am madly in love with. And this is one of the most beautiful and unique color stories I've ever seen, ever. And I've only done one look with this, and it was so beautiful. The shades worked so well together. I pulled more of the unique shades together, I felt, for the look, and I loved how it turned out. About halfway through, I was like, this might be a little too wild for me, but I loved it, and I got so many compliments on my look, so that was wonderful too. It's really fun when you get compliments on a look that you're not too sure about. But I'm gonna be pulling this into either a 2 looks video, possibly a 3 looks video. Want to give this a ton more love because I've only used this one shimmer shade, and there's this row of just gorgeous shimmery goodness down here. Highly recommend you guys checking out this brand. Number 2 is the Poppy Storm palette from Titanium Foxes, which is a French indie brand. I said UK indie brand, not so. They're located in France. I might be located in France if I keep making mistakes about where palettes are coming from. But I had an absolute blast creating the 2 looks with this palette for the video that I used this in, of course. And I just want to continue to use it and use it and use it. This is one of the most beautiful color stories I have in my collection. I like the depth in here and the bright in here. There's a really neat combo of depth and light. And you know, the shimmers, especially this one here, super flippy or metallic. They're just lovely. Such a beautiful formula. I've been seeing people using these palettes. There's this one and a Poppy Quiet palette, and there might even be another one from this brand. I'm not positive. But I was seeing looks pop up on Instagram, and I thought, okay, I'm sold. I'm getting one of the palettes. And I just was drawn more to this color story than the other one, but I'm seriously considering getting the Poppy Quiet too, because it's gorgeous. But yeah, I cannot wait to, I'm going to do another 2, maybe 3 looks video with this palette as well. And then number 1, of course, belongs to the Saints, Angels, Sinners, and Not Your Basic Stephs Pure palette. Steph is my best friend and my soul sister, and we're pretty convinced that we're biological sisters as well. We were just separated at birth. Different years and different countries. I really believe that this will always be my favorite palette in my collection. And it's not just because it belongs to Steph, okay? Truly. This is such a special and unique and beautiful palette. The top row of mattes, they're incredible to work with. These 2 rows of shimmers are just stunning and different and unique, and tons of different textures, like I think 3 or 4, maybe not tons, but 3 or 4, maybe 5 different kinds of textures. And then you have this row of multi-chrome shimmers down here. And what I keep forgetting to do is use one of these shades as a highlighter on my face. Jan's like, you got to do that, Erica. I'm like, I know, Jan. Would you like tattoo it on my forehead or something? I wanted to grab a palette out of my collection that I thought said vacation, because I used this in my Go-Go's, talking about the Go-Go's video. They sing a song called Vacation. And you know, the front of the palette to me, the front of the palette to me says vacation, of course. But the color story itself is so fun that it just reminds me of a beautiful vacation that I would like to hop inside and live in. And I'm really proud of Steph for creating such a beautiful, amazing palette. She absolutely deserved this collab, and this will always be, I can't imagine it not being, the most special palette I own in my collection. So there you have it. Those were all the palettes I used throughout the month of April, ranked for you guys. Let me know if you guys have any of these palettes. Let me know what you think of the looks that I created, and let me know what you think of how I ranked these palettes. It's not always easy for me to do that, but I'm trying to get over, I mean, it's just for fun. It's just for funsies. This is not super serious-sies. And I will be doing my random ranking monthly series here, I think this week, so stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your lives to sit down and watch this video. If you're new here and you enjoyed what you saw, please consider subscribing, smash the like button, and of course, comment down below in the comment section. I'd love to chat with you guys there. If you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. I cannot wait to see you guys again in my next video. But in the meantime, please take very good care of yourself. Be well, safe, happy, and I will see you soon. Bye.
Drop it.